Hello everybody, it's time for Coffee with Bill, and there's a lot of liberal foolishness in the news today. I see here where a group of Americans tried to hold a free speech rally in front of the Twitter headquarters in San Francisco, but they were quickly surrounded by a violent Antifa mob. The mob was so violent that the police had to swoop in and move the conservatives to a safer location, but the mob followed and absolutely shut down the free speech event. This is nothing but standard Nazi brown shirt tactics, violently shutting down any and all opposition to the left-wing agenda. If free speech dies in America, the entire Bill of Rights will follow. All freedom rallies in liberal-held territory must be done by well-armed and prepared patriots who are willing to defend themselves. This is what the Democrat Party has driven us to. Well, here's some interesting news. In Utah, 21 men who belong to the white supremacist group Soldiers of Aryan Culture, never heard of them, were arrested for distributing guns and drugs. After a 16-month investigation, federal agents recovered 15 firearms and 1.5 pounds of methamphetamine. That's all they got after a 16-month investigation. I have a suggestion. How about investigating the AR-15s and the AK-47s being brandished by Black Lives Matter as they march on American neighborhoods? Who has been providing those weapons to an in-your-face domestic terrorist group? Is that not a priority of federal law enforcement? I guarantee you BLM has killed more citizens and police officers than all white supremacist groups combined. The liberal left are mad at Dianne Feinstein because she hugged Lindsey Gram during the latest hearings. Well, hey, half the time Gram is a Democrat. Now, he's been on the Trump train for the last few years because that's the only way to avoid being tarred and feathered by his constituency. But I tell you this, once Trump is term limited out, you watch. Lindsey Gram will go right back to being a part-time Democrat. Michigan is to ban open carrying of firearms at polling places and places where ballots are counted. Michigan is an open carry state, and the Supreme Court has ruled that local governments cannot strip citizens of a constitutional right simply because they fear violence. In fact, hey, the fear of violence is exactly why open carry is more important than ever on that day in those locations. I do expect that there will be confrontations at some of the polling places. In fact, I believe that is a part of the Democrat plan. The Second Amendment is very clear. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, period. All federal gun laws are unconstitutional, and states should tread lightly when it comes to personal self-defense. As a 20-year lawman, I openly support open carry. And considering the open violence of Antifa and Black Lives Matter, the polling places may be exceptionally dangerous for citizens on Election Day. Well, let's see here. Joe Dan Gorman says, Soviet California announces holiday dinner rules. That's right, Thanksgiving and Christmas are coming up, and the Democrats can't stand to see Americans celebrating in freedom. Here's some of the rules. Gatherings that include more than 3 households are prohibited. The host should collect names of all attendees and contact information. Nothing like a little Soviet-style intimidation for Christmas. All gatherings must be held outside. Attendees may go inside to use restrooms as long as they are frequently sanitized. Seating must provide at least 6 feet distance, blah, blah, blah. Any food or beverages at outdoor gatherings must be in single-serve disposable containers. And Betty's Big Bowl of fruit salad is now illegal in California. People who are singing or chanting are strongly encouraged to do so quietly. Can't risk Californians hearing Christ the Savior is born today. This is not about virus control. This is nothing but Soviet-style people control, and that is going to be the big battle for the next few years, stopping the government from herding us like cattle. And here's another part of the liberal plan: government turning children into monsters. In Scotland, any parent who spanks a child will be charged with criminal assault. American liberals have tried to bring this to the USA, but so far they have failed. Spanking children is a biblically sanctioned tool for the proper upbringing of children, and for governments to turn parents into criminals simply for being good parents is outrageous. Western civilization needs an infusion of well-behaved children to offset the plague of spoiled brats who are burning cities, killing people, and screaming, "Gimme, gimme, gimme," at the top of their lungs. Most of the Antifa, Black Lives Matters nonsense began with improper parenting in the homes. Liberals do not know much about anything, much less how to raise children. Spanking a child, when done properly, is done in a manner consistent with socially acceptable behavior and is done in a loving manner. One of my favorite police chiefs ever was in North Carolina. He was so sick of hearing parents threatened with jail for disciplining their children that he started the local Spank a Kid project, where when a child needed a tune-up, a police officer would be dispatched to the home to witness the spanking so nobody could claim abuse. Well, let's wrap this up with 3 proverbs from the Bible dealing with proper child rearing. Proverbs 13:24, these are from the ESV. Whoever spares the rod hates his son, but he who loves him is diligent to discipline him. Proverbs 29:15, the rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself brings shame to his mother. Boy, we've seen a little bit of that in our country, haven't we? And lastly, Proverbs 22:15. Folly is bound up in the heart of a child, but the rod of discipline drives it far from him. This has been Coffee with Bill. Thanks for watching, and America bless God again.